Hi there, Talon Grips installation video. This one is on the Steyr M-A1. This is the 9mm version, also available in .40 caliber. This will be a rear wrap installation. However, there is a slight difference on the front here. As you can see on this piece, rather than having 3 fingers come down and around like on the Glock grips and other common grips, this one has 2, but then this comes down and wraps around. That's going to follow this little area around the mag well here where it's indented. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is test fit the firearm, see how the grip lines up. As a rear wrap grip, we're going to start on the left side here. See it wrapping around the back. We do have a logo cut out there for the Steyr. Follows along the factory stipling. Comes around here. Let's see how this comes down. Wraps in there. Looks like we have the correct grip, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step, which is going to be using only alcohol, which we provide a alcohol cleaning pad. Go ahead and thoroughly clean the firearm. This is going to remove any dirt, debris, and oil that might be on the firearm from use or from your hands. I've also cleaned my hands prior to shooting this video. I want to make sure that your hands are nice and clean too. It doesn't make sense to clean the firearm if you have dirty hands. On these Steyrs, on both side plates here, it does have a very textured, very porous surface, so really make sure you get in there, clean that very well. Also this back, all these ridges. This one was cleaned ahead of time also, so you may need to use some extra alcohol, maybe even a brush, to really make sure you get in those ridges. It's going to help that adhesion hold up. So once we have that clean, we're going to let it sit there and dry. Our next step is going to be to remove the backing, and then starting with the left side, we're going to wrap around the back portion, the backstrap area of the firearm. So just going ahead, peeling off the backing of my Talon grip here. Make sure this is completely dry before going on. So lining it right here, we're going to kind of follow that factory side plate that they have on there. I'm just going to lightly tack it down here, make sure our alignment's good. In the back they have these little grooves, so as I come around I'm going to make sure I roll into that groove. Now when I installed this is the granulate version of the grip. When I installed the rubber grip on here earlier, when we were testing it out, I did notice that the rubber didn't sit down quite as well until after I applied the heat. So the granulate does tend to stick in there pretty well right away. As we come around, see we're centered right on that other Steyr logo there. Now again, I'm just kind of tacking it lightly into place. We will still tuck the fingers like we do on the other ones. So I'm going to peel this back just a little bit so that we can tuck these in here. Notice I'm just rolling that around. I'm trying to keep this bottom piece not stuck down or not adhered yet. So I'm doing my 2 fingers first. Then I'm going to go ahead, back this piece down. Now to do this bottom piece, try and get it unstuck, roll it down first to get it nice and flat, and then we should be able to roll it side to side, and it should line up properly. Repeat on the other side. When you have it down, you should notice a pretty even reveal right along the bottom, and then also a nice reveal around where the grip differentiates there. So now that I have that, I'm going to go ahead and get these little thumb indents down. So I'm going to pull it out and then reseat it, kind of rolling it up, making sure that it goes down nicely into that thumb groove. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. You can see it kind of set down on its own, and it's got just a little bubble in there. No big deal. Just going to carefully pull that back, and this is the side with the little Talon T, so use a little extra caution there so you don't rip it. Again, just kind of rolling it down. That will sit down in there quite nicely. Now that I have the grip pretty much centered where I want it, I'm not planning on moving it anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and finish the backstrap area, lift that up, set it down. I'm also going to do the bottom. Looks like it's sitting pretty well, but just to make sure. Again, I'm not stretching it, I'm just kind of lifting it up and relieving any pressure that might have been put on it when I was installing it going around. So now I have that grip in place. I'm going to go ahead and apply a little heat. Really get that grip to set down. See, I'm just working around, making sure I don't have any bubbles, wrinkles, creases, anything like that. Here's where I get out my trusty heat gun or hair dryer. Starting with that left side there, really just working it down in, pressing very firmly at this point. Working around that logo, all the edges where the overlap occurs here, all the way up. Again, an important thing when performing this last step is do not overheat the grip. Just notice I run it for a few seconds, get the grip nice and warm, and then really work it in. The grip should never be too hot to touch. If you're heating it up that much, it's going to affect that adhesive. What happens when that excessive heat hits that adhesive, it'll cause it to kind of gum up and might eventually fail. So by warming it, it does loosen the adhesive to where it can go into all these little grooves. It also makes the gripping surface itself, our granulate material, more pliable, so it stretches really well and fits down nicely into all the little grooves and nooks. Again, we recommend repeating this step several times. I'll probably do it at least 3 more times on this particular firearm. However, I'm not going to show that in the video because that's boring. As you can see, this grip has a real nice fit. Good coverage all around. Only one backstrap size on this Steyr. Of course, you always want to make sure that when you apply the grip, it's not interfering at all with the magazine release. You can see this line here is fairly close to the magazine release, but it does leave enough gap all around that it doesn't affect it. That's Talon Grips installation video on the Steyr M-A1.